Hello everyone, and welcome to a trip down memory lane you never wanted to take. Revisiting moments in history where entire countries basically looked at their bank balances, shrugged and said, yeah, we're gonna need a payment plan on that one. We're talking, of course, about sovereign debt defaults, so buckle up as we delve into the top 10 largest sovereign debt defaults in history, ranked by the sheer amount of money that went. We're going to unpack who defaulted, when, and for how much, and maybe, just maybe, we'll learn a thing or two about economic instability and risky lending practices. Let's get into it. Argentina, a country practically synonymous with tango, delicious steak, and, well, defaulting on its debt. In February 2020, they racked up another default, this time to the tune of $10.5 billion. At the time, they were rated Ca2, which in financial terms is basically like getting a participation trophy for your credit score. This wasn't even their first rodeo, which, if we're honest, makes it even more remarkable. It's like walking into the same rake 8 times and being surprised each time it smacks you in the face. Next up we have Ukraine, a country that unfortunately knows a thing or two about being caught in a geopolitical tug-of-war. Back in October 2015, with a credit rating of Kia, deep in junk territory, Ukraine defaulted on $13.3 billion. This wasn't just fiscal mismanagement. Ukraine was in the midst of a major conflict with Russia, which put a damper on their ability to repay their debts. 2020, the year the world collectively decided to take a nosedive into chaos. Ecuador joined the default party in April of that year with a $17.3 billion bang. A global pandemic isn't exactly conducive to economic stability, but Ecuador's 2020 default was a stark reminder that even in crises, financial obligations rarely just disappear. Oh, hello again, Argentina. It seems you've returned for another go on the default roller coaster. This time, in July 2014, they outdid themselves, racking up a $29.4 billion tab they just couldn't quite cover. Their credit rating at the time, you guessed it, Ca2. It's impressive, in a watching a car crash in slow motion kind of way. Venezuela, a country with the world's largest proven oil reserves, seems like it should be swimming in cash, and yet, in November 2017, they defaulted on $31.1 billion in debt. It's a cautionary tale that even vast natural resources can't always save you from the consequences of poor governance. Lebanon, once considered the Switzerland of the Middle East, experienced a brutal economic meltdown that culminated in a $31.3 billion default in March 2020. Their credit rating? A dismal Ca, putting them firmly in the don't lend them a nickel category. This wasn't just a case of bad luck, it was the result of decades of corruption and unsustainable financial policies. Greece, the land of ancient history, stunning islands, and, well, a rather dramatic debt crisis. In December 2012, with a credit rating of C, Greece defaulted on $41.4 billion. This wasn't just any default. It shook the very foundations of the Eurozone, raising questions about the viability of a single currency for such diverse economies. Even former superpowers aren't immune to the allure of a good old-fashioned debt default. In August 1998, just a few years after the collapse of the Soviet Union, Russia, with a credit rating of Kia1, defaulted on $72.7 billion in debt. This wasn't just a financial crisis, it was a political earthquake that sent shockwaves through global markets. You knew they'd be back. In November 2001, Argentina decided to make history, and not the good kind. They defaulted on a whopping $82.3 billion, a move that cemented their place in the sovereign debt hall of infamy. Their credit rating at the time? A predictable Ca3. And finally, we arrive at the reigning champion of sovereign debt defaults, the one and only Greece. In March 2012, they unleashed a $264.2 billion default onto the world, a figure so large it almost defies comprehension. This default triggered a chain reaction that reverberated throughout Europe and beyond, highlighting the interconnectedness of the global financial system. So there you have it, the top 10 sovereign debt defaults in history, a veritable greatest hits collection of financial calamities. These defaults have had lasting consequences, from economic hardship and political instability to social unrest and a loss of trust in institutions. They serve as cautionary tales about the importance of responsible fiscal management and sustainable debt levels. And on that cheery note, if you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of financial meltdowns, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more.